It can feel like the climate is changing faster than we can react, but there are people doing good work. There is a climate crew.
Some people call whales gardeners of the ocean. Whales can eat a lot of food, and when they come to the surface, that's where they poop, bringing important nutrients to the surface, such as iron and nitrogen, which is used by phytoplankton. That's what researchers call the whale pump. Whales are increasing the productivity of the oceans, which can be good for a lot of other species, but as well as for mitigating climate change, because phytoplankton, which are microscopic plants living on the surface of the ocean, produce about half of the oxygen on Earth and absorb a significant amount of carbon dioxide. Thus, many researchers are now saying one way to mitigate the impact of climate change is to produce more whales.
For there to be whales, there has to be lots for them to eat. Our crew needs to check up on what's happening with their food.
So the first step in prey monitoring is to deploy a giant fish finder into the water. Let's get that arm in the water.
We'll go up and then move the arm.
And it sends different frequencies into the water column, kind of like a big hydrophone, to see what's going on. What are we seeing today?
We can see the data very clearly. Right here, the red line is the ocean floor, but there's not a lot of fish where we're at right now.
I'm a little concerned because it's kind of what we've been seeing this year. Previous years we had a lot of krill, a lot of fish. This year it seems to be a lot less. They seem to be really spread out all over the place.
Exactly.
It also explains why we're seeing a bit less whales and why they're staying a bit less long in the park. At the same time, we have observers who are looking with the naked eye to see what's around. So they're trying to compare what's underneath the surface of the water with what's happening at the surface. So they're looking for birds, they're looking for whales, they're looking for other species that might be around to compare those. And afterwards in the lab, if we decide to take water samples, we can even look under the microscope to see more specifically what kind of phytoplankton, what kind of zooplankton is there. And with all that, so what's happening under the water, what's happening at the surface, and what's happening under the microscope, we're able to really paint that beautiful picture. Now at the surface, you only see 10% of the whale. There's this whole other part of it that's really hidden to us. And it's what's happening with our work as well. By using different mechanisms like hydroacoustic monitoring, we're able to really get a sneak peek into what's happening under the waves and to get a better idea and a better sense of this dynamic aquatic environment.
Lots of food for the whales is only one part of a good habitat. As the water's warm, sound can travel differently and it can get noisier for the whales.
Water quality is changing. And what we're theorizing is that that's also going to have an effect on sound levels. Now, with the amount of boating activity in the area, it's really important for us to be able to put in place regulations to protect the whales from these sound levels that are going to change over time. It can disrupt their communications, it can disrupt their feeding, it can disrupt the ties between mother and calves, specifically for belugas in the area. So making sure that we have areas that are quiet for the whales, where they can actually rest and they can actually socialize, is key to their survival and key to the populations and the biodiversity in the area. Having a better idea of the amount of noise that there is underwater allows us to put in place special areas that are protected for the whales, like Baie Sainte-Marguerite, and other areas that are restricted to boating and to boating activities.
So the beluga population was at the origin of the establishment of the Saguenay-St. Lawrence Marine Park in 1998. And in 2018, for the 20th anniversary of the Saguenay-St. Lawrence Marine Park, Baie Sainte-Marguerite became the first area in Canada entirely closed to navigation to protect a whale at risk. Have you seen a lot this afternoon?
About 25, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's your season been?
Very good. There were a lot of belugas. I've seen them frequently. I noticed more activity at the surface. I noticed different behavior than when the boats are in the area.
Before the area closure, when there were boats in the bay, our data showed that in the presence of boats, we would observe less beluga whales at the surface. Now we're hoping with the area closure that we're offering quieter habitat with less disturbance, which is important for the whales to practice their vital functions such as taking care of their young, resting, and feeding. All things that whales need to do to survive and reproduce. More whales on the planet means a healthier planet.
Now the whale pump is key in protecting biodiversity. Together in that symbiosis and that cycle, they're helping us mitigate the effects of climate change And in the end, really, nature is our best ally in helping us really mitigate all those impacts.